Hello everyone. So welcome to the next session in our Indian modern history classes. And today we'll be starting the important phase of we'll be entering the last decade, that is 1940s. So from 1939s to 1940s we will enter. Okay, fine. So let us first summarize what we have done very quickly. So basically in the last two sessions we talked about the two level of this debate after the CDM was withdrawn. So first level of debate was that is, what should we do after the CDM? Right, again the same issues came, whether we should go for council entry or not, whether we should go for the constructive work or not, or whether we should continue the strategy of the Nehru, that is struggle to victory. We should not stop this mass movement, we should carry on this mass movement. Second level of debate came after the Government of India Act that we have seen, because Government of India Act, with the provision of the provincial autonomy, has provided one opportunity for the Congress or the Indians to take over the role of as executive. So then the dilemma come whether, okay, now the problem is settled. Yes, we have to enter into the council, but we have to enter into the council or the parliament or the legislative assembly as executive, those who hold power, ministers that mean, or whether we should enter as a confrontational role, as an opposition. That was again a debate. But finally, the debate was decided in the favor of this. And then we have seen the 28-month rule of the Congress. What their objectives were, what was their manifesto, what were their objectives, where we fared well, where they got some problems. And this is what we have discussed till now. Now, this is what is happening here that is happening at the government level. Now, Congress entry into the governments. But on the other Congress, but while on the other hand, parallelly, what is going on? The Congress journey itself, right? The Congress journey itself. We will look at it later on, the Congress sessions such as Lucknow session and Faizpur session, when we look at the peasant movement. That will be later on. But today we'll talk about what is happening, and that is the emergence of the Subhash Chandra Bose at the national scene. He was already there at the national scene, but now he'll become the president of the Congress. And now his views will come into conflict with the Gandhian view, because Gandhiji will himself admit that mere or tumhare opinion, my and your opinion are diametrically opposite. That cannot be reconciliated. Both had tremendous respect for each other. But the Gandhiji realized that that cannot happen. So Bose will have the presidency of 2 sessions, then he will resign and will form his own forward bloc. Right? On the other hand, one thing is happening internationally parallelly, that is the World War II. Hitler will invade the Poland and the starting of the World War II will happen. How this World War II will impact the Indian independence movement, that is also a very, very important thing to understand. Now here the World War II is very, very different, because there are 2 parties. One party that is Britain, France and others, and the other party that is Axis power led by Hitler, Mussolini. They are representing the fascist forces, that is the Nazis, and the Japan, that is the militarism, that you must have studied in your world history. Now it is a dilemma for the Congress leadership. Why it's a dilemma for the Congress leadership? It's a very easy answer. Congress, yes, they hate it most. Basically, the question is, who is the worst enemy? Whether the British or the Hitler. Both of them are wrong. But Hitler is very much wrong. He stands for the principle of fascism. And while Britain in that war is fighting for what? The democratic value, the freedom in that war. But the Nehru will call out the hypocrisy of this. Nehru said, "Bhai, ye to hypocrisy hai." Why? Britain, you are standing up for the freedom, for the independence, anti-imperialism, anti-fascism. On the other hand, you have doing this autocracy in India. What is India? Your colony only. Autocracy, autocratic rule, non-democratic rule. So this is a hypocrisy on the part of the Britain. Right? Then one more thing will happen. At the announcement of the World War II, the Governor General, the Viceroy of India, what will say? He will say, yes, India is also at the war with versus the Hitler or the Axis power. Now the Indians will say, when we have given you the consent, to go out and say that yes, Britain has declared war for against the Hitler, but India is now also against the war against the fascist. But the Indians are saying, at least you should ask us. We are the Indians. We have the demand of the self-government. You should ask us. But unilaterally it was done. So they were very, very angry. And in response to it, they will say, okay, this dilemma, they will offer them choice conditions. Ki bhai ye kar do, do this, then we will offer you support for the war. We will not embarrass you in front of the Hitler, because the Hitler we know is a worst enemy. We will not embarrass you, but what you are supposed to do, you have to consider our these two conditions. Do you think British will agree? No. And then they will say, first what we are doing, first we will resign from the ministry. And then the resignation from the 28th month rule, there is the resignation of this. That is the 28th month rule. Then we will see later on what will happen. The circumstances will change. Hitler will start winning the war in the first 2 years. Hitler will make a lot of, Belgium will fall. Hitler will take over the Poland. And now the British and the France are very much threatened. Ki, bhai, kya ho raha hai? What is this happening? And plus they do not have the support of the Indians. Now they will try to reconciliate Indians. And they will come up with the August offer. That's what we will see till the end of the today's session. Okay? Chalo, let us start. So these summaries are very, very important. Otherwise, everything is in their book, right? But summaries are basically an idea to establish the story perspective of it. And then we'll look at the content. Chalo. Now, after the civil disobedience movement was done, the Congress was in disarray, at least according to Gandhiji. According to Gandhiji, a lot of corruption has crept into it, indiscipline, some rivalries and squabbles among the different components of the Congress. For example, we have discussed right versus the left. Communalists have crept into the Congress, right? Some people are fighting over Karlai, some are fighting for the capitalist right, some for zamindar, some for peasant. So a lot of Congress has been divided on multiple lines. The bogus membership of the Congress. A lot of people who are not belonging to Congress ideology or do not follow Congress ideology, yet still they are in Congress. And the unethical means are being used by the people to get into the Congress committees, which are the important committees. We'll discuss one committee today. That people are using unethical means, whether they are giving corruption, whether they're giving bribe, that we want to be included into these ministries. So Gandhiji said that Congress first put yourself in order. He was responding in a way to the people who were saying that launch civil disobedience movement, launch the another mass movement. What are you waiting for? So Gandhiji said, bhai, pehle apne order ko theek karo. Put first your house in order. And he said the people are not in the mood for a struggle. They have already had this struggle. Now they are STS philosophy. So struggle, truce and struggle. This is the phase of the truce where we have to do the constructive work. We have to regenerate the mass potential or the mass agency. Then comes your Haripura and Tripuri session. Subhash Chandra Bose enters into the nationalist scene. He was already there in the nationalist scene, but now at a very prominent role. Now Subhash Chandra Bose was having very radical ideas. And he was a man of action. Radical ideas, we have seen that he was the member of the Nehru committee, or the committee from the Nehru report. He was the member of it, and he was the one who dissented, who had the dissent with respect to the dominion status. We have seen that. He was the one who, along with the Nehru, formed what? Independence of India League. Because they did not agree with the Nehru report and they wanted the Purna Swaraj. He endorsed the Purna Swaraj resolution. He was a man of action that we'll see in the next session also, when we'll discuss the Indian National Army, Azad Hind Fauj. So he was a man of action. Here also within the Congress, he wanted to radicalize the Congress. Means radicalize means he wants Congress to take more actions. The similar ideas that according to constructive work is not doing anything. This is a very high time. We should declare mass movement. We should weed England out. So according to him, that was the belief. Now think about it. When the opportunity for World War II will come, what will the Bose opinion will be? Bose will say, "Arey bhai, this is brilliant opportunity. Let's get rid of this British." Now they are at their weakest. Strike when their weakest point, and this is their weakest point. They are getting hammered by the Hitler. This is their weakest point. We should hit them at this moment. Bose will say, "Yes, I don't agree with the fascist, but what about these British? Both he's also not good. Winston Churchill, poor man, bad boy, bad guy. Both are worst. We should not choose one evil over the other." This is the Bose view. चलो देखते हैं. So Bose at that time was the president of the Bengal Provincial Congress Committee. So provincial level pe organization of youth and promote their trade union movement. Bose has done a very important work. Bose was a socialist in opinion, leftist, you can say leftist trend he represented, workers, peasants cause, and these things. Some of the things he opposed Nehru report, we have discussed that. Independence of India League with Nehru, endorsed Purna Swaraj resolution at the Lahore resolution. He was active in the salt satyagraha, civil disobedience movement, versus the suspension of the civil disobedience movement. When the suspension of the civil disobedience movement was called by the Gandhiji, he was not in the favor of it. He said, let's continue it. Struggle to victory. Struggle to victory was a strategy said by Nehru, but he also believed in that. He was against the Gandhi-Irwin Pact, in which he believed that Gandhi could have the same argument. Gandhi could have done what? Gandhi could have pushed for the commutation of the hanging of the Bhagat Singh and all. Gandhi could have done that, could have asked for that, but Gandhi didn't. Then Haripura session happened in February 1938. He was unanimously elected the president, means there was no one standing against him. So he won, obviously. He had the faith in the belief that the Congress ministries have, or the Congress have still immense revolutionary potential and economic development through planning. This was his beliefs, that we have to do the economic development through planning. He believed in planning. All the socialists believe in planning. And he had the belief that the Congress ministry, whatever work they have done, they have created the masses for revolution. And the resolution was passed officially that Congress moral support to those who were agitating in the princely states. So what we have discussed, you remember, in the Nagpur session in 1920, continuing that. In the Haripura session, they said that we will provide the moral support to all the people who are agitating in these princely states as well. Chalo bhai. Now comes the next session. Bose decided that I will again become the president. I will again fight. So Haripura done. Now the Tripuri. Tripuri in 1939. Now he was not unopposed, unlike the Tripura, unlike the Haripuri. In the Haripuri, in the Tripura, he was fighting against the another candidate. His candidate name was Pattabi Sitamayya. But he was actually not the candidate. He was basically the Gandhi's candidate. And Gandhi, imagine the weight of Gandhi against the one candidate, towards the one candidate, and against the Bose. Gandhi was supported by his followers Patel, Rajendra Prasad, J.B. Kriplani. And the Bose was supported by the Congress Socialist Party, Communist, the leftist trend within the Congress. That is why it is said, Congress has many divisions. So Bose was supported by Congress Socialist Party, Communist. Bose was having very new ideas, ideology, programs, and problems, new. And this was the major concern of these people. They were saying that already all these ideas, ideology, problems, program, Congress has already decided that what are these going to be. Already it is developed. When the Bose is bringing new ideas, this is wrong, because Congress has already developed these. It is going away from the path we have adopted for the Congress. Both is taking it to this path, and we cannot accept it. But Interestingly, Bose won the election 1580 versus 1377. Then Gandhiji congratulated Bose on his victory, but also declared that Patabi's defeat is my defeat. Gandhiji said that he was my candidate and his defeat is my defeat. It has become Gandhi versus Bose. In the Tripuri session, Bose, what used to happen when the president is selected? President used to appoint the working committee. He used to nominate members. Okay, these are the 5-6 people who will be working as the working committee. Now, it was the working committee which was earlier with respect to the previous president, and the boss said that his working committee is not working according to my wishes or my vision. So Bose accused this working committee, which was earlier working. He has to appoint his own later on, but he said this working committee is not working, and the working committee replied that Bose is doubting our nationalism. Bose has no right to question our nationalism. So again, a strife is there. Again, Bose versus Gandhi. Bose said that we should provide 6-month ultimatum to the British, that within 6 months give us the full independence, and if the 6-month ultimatum is being rejected, we will launch a civil disobedience movement. He said that Congress is strong and the masses are ready for the revolution, for the movement, and we should take advantage of the British. While the Gandhiji will say, no, the time is no time for ultimatum. We will not give that ultimatum. Congress and masses are not ready. There are a lot of discords, communal and class discords are there within the Congress. Hindu, Muslim, peasants, capitalist, peasants, zamindars, labor, capitalist, and unified vision is not there of the Congress. So this was the division between Bose and the Gandhi. Now, okay, that's fine that the Bose has become the president. Now Bose has to appoint a working committee. He has to nominate people. Now one resolution was mooted by GB Pant, Govind Ballabh Pant, कि भाई the Bose should appoint these members as per the wishes of the Gandhi. So Bose ने बोला कि अरे this is why this is happening. Why should I should nominate the people according to my wishes? If the Congress working committee will not work according to my agenda, then what is the point of having such body? There will be conflicts. And Gandhi ji said कि भाई I won't impose anything on Bose. Gandhi ji ने तो पल्ला झाड़ लिया. He said नहीं, I don't want to say anything. You have moved a resolution, you will pass the resolution, I don't care. Now the people who are supporting the Bose, imagine. Those who are supporting the Bose were essentially not opposing Gandhi. They were supporting the Bose against the candidate. That among the two, Bose is a better candidate. But when the fight has become the Bose versus Gandhi, these people weighed their support towards Gandhi because they cannot lose the support of the Gandhi. Right? So Bose did not get a large support, though he got number of votes, but later on he was not getting good support within the supporters which has earlier supported them. Because those supporters also believes in the overarching leadership of the Gandhiji. So Gandhiji accepted that we have the diametrically opposite views and there is no policy of bridging them. We cannot bridge those. Even the socialists and the communists were unified and they wanted it to be unified, Congress to be unified, and no split needs to be taken. Split means Bose version and the Gandhi party. Hence Bose saw everything. He said that bhai, I got the presidentship. I have very different ideas. I have different ideologies. I support different problems. I have a relatively different program. And plus, nobody is supporting me. Gandhiji is against me. Gandhiji is an overarching national leader. And hence he decided to quit, resigned as the president. And then Rajendra Prasad became the president later on. And Bush decided to resign as a president and form the Forward Bloc. He and his follower formed the Forward Bloc as a new party within the Congress. But when he gave the call for an all India protest on 9 June against the AICC resolution, All India Congress Committee took disciplinary action against the Bose. In August 1939, he was removed from the post of the president of the Bengal Provincial Congress Committee, besides being debarred from holding any elective office for the period of 3 years. So now the Bose and the Congress are no more together. Why? Bose said, he formed the forward bloc. He said, no, let us go for the protest. But currently the forward bloc is within the Congress. Now in the AICC, All India Congress Committee resolution has been passed that no such thing will be done. But the Bose has not defied that order, and then the disciplinary action was taken against the Bose. Chalo. So that was the small Bose story. Now we'll look at the World War II. Now the World War II, September 1, 1939, Germany attacked the Poland. The action led to Second World War II. September 3, Britain declared war against the British, against the Germany. And the British government of India, that is government of India, declared India's support for the war, without consulting the Indian opinion. Without consulting the Indian opinion. ठीक? Then Congress offered to Viceroy. By Congress ka, just 1 second. Let us see this. Some issue is there. So World War II now being announced. Now there are different opinion that what needs to be done. Gandhiji, we have discussed, Gandhiji has sympathies for Britain for war. Ki bhai, Britain is fighting a very just war. Dislike for the fascist ideology was far, far more against the dislike for the British. He said that I'll provide the unconditional support to the British. Unconditional support without any condition. And he was not willing to embarrass the British government during the war. Nehru, first Bose. So Bose का हमने पढ़ा है, what he'll say, आचार्य नरेंद्र, जयप्रकाश नारायण, no sympathies to either side. दोनों साइड बेकार हैं. Both are imperialist and both are protecting only their colonial possessions. This is a war that is imperialist war. There is no value-based wars. And this is the ideal time to launch the CDM, Civil Disobedience Movement. Now Nehru disagreed with both. He disagreed with Gandhiji also and he disagreed with both also. He said, yes, there is a democratic value versus the fascism, the Gandhian argument. Yes, Gandhiji is right. That ki bhai, democracy is far, far better value than fascism. And fascism has to be condemned in each and every form, each and every format. But he agreed with the Bose on the idea that if we are not free, then how can we contribute to the Britain's cause, which is for the freedom against the Hitler? Simple si baat hai. That if we are not free, we have discussed the argument of hypocrisy. He said it is a hypocritical of the British. It is hypocritical of the British to demand our or unilaterally declare our support for the war without asking us, and when they have not provided any freedom to us, without free independence. And later on, based upon these ideas, Gandhi's position was very, very weak. Obviously, that unconditional support, sabne mana kiya, no, this cannot happen. So CWC resolution was passed, Congress Working Committee. India could not be party to the war, which is for the freedom, while India is denied the freedom. If Britain is truly serving the cause of the democracy and freedom, then it has to prove by ending the imperialism in its colonies and establishing the full democracy in India. If Britain is really concerned about this democracy and the freedom and all of these things, then they should establish full democracy in India. Government should declare its war aims very soon. That what are the aim of your war? What do you want to achieve with the war? And how the principles of democracy were to apply to India after the war. Ki bhai, on which principles you are fighting this World War II, and how you are going to apply those principles to India after the war. So this was the CWG resolution. Okay? Just 1 second. हाँ, देखो. Just 1 second. Just some confusion is there. So, फिर you see again. So unilateral actions, they were not happy with the whatever happening in the unilateral actions which have been taken place. But Congress, we have discussed, was already against fascism, Nazism, militarism, imperialism. They offered to cooperate with the two conditions. First, after the war, Constituent Assembly convened to determine the political structure of the free India. After the war, you do this. you give us the Constituent Assembly, or immediately you give a genuinely responsible government. To immediately, Turant. But obviously, it was rejected by Linlithgow. The Viceroy Congress argued that these conditions are necessary to win the public opinion for the war. Then CWC meeting happened. Some changes in the chronology, sorry. So first, the war declared. Congress said that we will offer support only and only you follow these two conditions. Rejected. Then they meet. Then again, they discuss the strategy, CWC. Achha, ab now you'll ask me ki why Bose and the other socialists are here. Why Bose is here? Bose is here because the Congress has invited the Bose. Ki bhai tum bhi batao, whatever, what is your opinion, different opinion on it. So they just wanted to discuss it out, right? Then this was decided in the Congress CWC resolution. But Congress government's response were entirely negative. Lon Lithgow, in a statement made on October 19, tried to use Muslim League and the princes against the Congress. So Lon Lithgow was following his old divide and rule policy. That the government refused to define British war aim beyond the stating that British was resisting the aggression, right? Refused to define that what are our war aims. It said that part of the future arrangement consultation consult representative of several communities, parties and interests in India and the Indian princes as to how the Act of 1935 could be modified. There again, old point that yes, we will modify the Act of 1935. Nothing new we will done. And we'll form this consultative committee. See, whenever any government wants to reject the idea of the other, we'll say, Acha, theek hai, we'll form a committee. We will do the amendments in the present act related with the farm laws. I'm not saying and I'm favoring one party to the other, but our argument is same. Congress government said we'll form the committee. The farmer said no. The government said we will amend the act. Answer is no. So these are the mainly ideas. Now, hidden agenda of the government is different. Hidden agenda, obviously, you can see one agenda is to divide the Congress and with the put more bridge between the Congress and the Muslim League and the other communalist. So weaken the Congress position so that the Congress cannot form the new civil disobedience movement or any mass movement, especially during the time of the war. So divide the Congress further. Delay and divide. So policy of delay and then divide, or divide and delay. Okay. One more thing was that doing such thing, they will provoke the confrontation from Congress. The Congress will be provoked. Now Congress will take up the mass action or mass movement. When they will do so, and these external conditions such as World War I, World War II, they will take up these draconian power, that is Defense of India Act, for example. They will say this is such a time conspiracy against the India is happening, our government, anti-national people are there, right? And they will use these power and this context to, and they will say, see these Congress people, what they are doing, we are in the need of, currently we require their support, and see they are doing the mass movement, and they will repress like anything. They will do the repression like anything. And they can have the moral high ground because they have defined the reasons to themselves and to the public. What are the reasons? Ki bhai, we are at the war, Britain is at the war, we require the support of the India, but we have provided them some options, but they're not taking those options. They are going for this mass movement, and hence, and this mass movement, it is not only the Congress, but some anti-national elements are there in Congress, some German agents are in the Congress. These people are pro-German. These are the arguments the government will give, British government, that these are the pro-Germans. These are pro-Japan forces. These have infiltrated the mass movement. You can relate to current thing. It's so hilarious to say, but this is the modus operandi. Khalistani elements have infiltrated in the present context, or the pro-German have infiltrated, the pro-Japan have infiltrated, and they will repress them like anything. And they will justify to their public, see, this is pro-Germany. Any poster they will see, this is pro-Germany. किसी ने Hitler का poster ले लिया, someone shows Hitler photo, this is Hitler को support कर रहा है, like that. And the Congress leader will keep on saying, no, we are not pro-Germany, we are not pro-Hitler, we want our independence. The farmer leaders keep on saying, we are nothing to worry about Pakistan. We are nothing to worry about Pakistan. We are only worried about ourselves. But still, they will worry about, they will say, कि नहीं नहीं, you are the Pakistani element, you are a Khalistani element. So support of the Winston Churchill as PM, he was the full support of the Winston Churchill was there. He branded the Congress as the Hindu party or the Hindu organization. He said कि भाई Congress only not represents the whole country's interest. No, they represent only the Hindus' interest. So again, dividing the Congress on the communal line. In response to this, finally, the government ministries resigned on the October 2, 1939 at CWC meeting, rejected the Viceregal statement as reiteration of the old imperialist policy, decided not to support the war, and called upon Congress ministry to resign in the provinces. And finally, the 28-month rule comes to an end. This is where we end. Chalo. Now, in the Ramgarh session, again, the same dilemma, Gandhi, Nehru, what needs to be done? Now, Bose is not here, obviously. So whether we should support them, whether what we should do. Bhai, what should be our next course of action? The government is not listening. Whether we should support the action or what should we do? Gandhiji will say, no, support kar do. It's the low time of British Empire. They're fighting against the fascist forces. All these things. But finally, they have decided that people of India will accept nothing short of the complete independence, and the Congress will do the CDM as soon as the Congress organization is considered fit enough. So we will do the CDM if we consider it fit enough. Parallelly, what is going on? Muslim League lost 1937 election very badly. We have discussed they are going on the path of the more communal path, more radical polarized path. And they form this Pakistan resolution, or the Muslim League passed a resolution calling for a grouping of the geographically contiguous area where the Muslim majority into an independent state in which the constituent units will be autonomous and sovereign, and adequate safeguard to Muslims where they are in minority. What does it mean? Very simple. The idea is that in India, if these are the Muslim majority provinces, these Muslim majority provinces should be given the role of the state. They should become independent state. They have not used the word Pakistan. Very soon they will. But these will be independent states, and within these states, the areas where the Muslims will be in minority, where we will provide them adequate safeguard. Chalo bhai. Then your next part comes in, that is your August offer. Now, August offer means offer given by the Britain in the August month. Now, the question is why they will give such offer. The offer is because now the Hitler is beating them like anything. The other partners of the British, such as France, America, they will say to Britain, "Arey, what are you doing? Why are you not taking the support of these Indians? You will get a lot of British Indian troops coming to the Britain to help your war effort. We need more human power. Get the support of the Indians. What are you doing? You're not doing anything." And hence comes the time of the offer. So you can see the Hitler success, Belgium was down, Hitler was getting success, England was in the conciliatory mode. In the Congress, the dilemma was there. Again, Gandhi and Nehru, they're also watching this. Now they have watched that Hitler is winning. Yeah, what will happen if Hitler wins? Hitler is far more worse than your British. So they say ki bhai, not to take advantage of the British. So their position is also changed. They are also ready to compromise. But one condition they have given the Indians, that let it form the interim government. We give us the interim government and we will support you. Lithgow, on the other hand, gave us the August offer. Again, he came back to August offer. And what he'll say August means August 1940, he came up with the offer. He said, we want the support from you. We will give you dominion status is our objective. Now you can see the first problem here. Congress will say, what are you showing? Dominion status. Dominion status. कब का हम छोड़ आए वो दुनिया? We have left those times. Nehru report times. We are 10 or 12 years after Nehru report. You are discussing about dominion status. Do you consider us fool? Expansion of the Viceroy's Executive Council, where they say majority will be Indians. Then Constituent Assembly will be declared after the war, mainly of the Indians, not completely of the Indians, but mainly Indians. Majority Indians will be there. And no future constitution without the consent of the minority. If the minorities will not give the consent, no future will be there, no constitution will be there. Muslim League will like it. They will say it is a kind of a veto. It is a kind of a veto on the constitution. So responses, let us see very quickly the responses. Obviously, the Congress will reject the August offer. Nehru will say dominant status concept is dead as the doornail. Gandhiji said that declaration has widened the gulf between the nationalists and the British ruler. The Muslim League welcomed the veto assurance given and reiterated its position that partition was the only solution to deadlock. They say कि भाई अब तो हमें partition ही चाहिए because their resolution has been passed. ठीक, चलो. Now let's evaluate the August offer. Obviously, the response we have seen, but for the first time, inherent rights for the Indians to frame their constitution was recognized, which they are fighting till from since the Nehru report or the Simon Commission. Earlier, they did not consider Indians fit to frame the constitutional future of the India, but now they are. In 1941, the Viceroy's Executive Council was enlarged to include more Indians as majority, as for 8 out of the 12 are now Indians. But British remain in charge of the majority of the important area, defense, finance, home, and these things. National Defense Council was established with a purely advisory function. So these are the done under the August offer. Now, by the British have given August offer. Response obviously negative. We don't like it. Then, but they have to do something. They have to do something because they are earlier still thinking that what we need to do. So they have decided that we'll go for individual satyagraha. It is basically a golden mean between the mass satyagraha and doing nothing or constructive work. So at least we should do something, that is individual satyagraha, very quickly. So the government said no constitutional advancement till the Congress and the Muslim League comes to a settlement. And obviously that's not going to happen. That is again delay and divide strategy. And they were putting ordinances after ordinances with the context of the World War II to reduce the freedoms of the Indians, capture Indians, put them into jail for so many months. And the Congress asked Gandhi to take the command. Ki bhai hame kya karna chahiye? Please show us the way. And Gandhiji said we should go for the individual satyagraha. So what is the individual satyagraha? There will be a person that will be an individual satyagrahi. He will tell the police that on, let us say, 1st of March, I'll be making a speech this way and this sabha. And I'll be giving an anti-war speech. We'll be exposing the Britishers. If you can't arrest us, arrest us. If you won't arrest us, then, for example, let us say this starts from here. Every time I'll move here and I finally will reach Delhi. That is the idea of the individual satyagraha. That is what is known as the Delhi Chalo movement also. What were the aims? Very quickly. Show the nationalist patience was not due to weakness, that we are not weak, but we are considerate. Express people feeling that they are not interested in the war and there is no distinction between the Nazism and the double autocracy done by the British. We have to showcase them and we have to tell them that you are also wrong, but at a limited level. And another opportunity to accept Congress demand peacefully. That, okay, this also gives you an opportunity, see this and give us independence. Demand of the satyagrahi would be the freedom of speech. Who will be a satyagrahi? Freedom of speech against the war was anti-war declaration. If the government did not arrest the satyagrahi, he or she would not repeat it, but move to the villages and start marching towards the Delhi. That precipitating a movement which known as the Delhi Chalo movement. Vinoba Bhave was the first satyagrahi. Nehru was the second satyagrahi. And by May 1941, 25,000 have been convicted for the individual civil disobedience. So this is your individual satyagraha. So that would be the end of the session today. Okay. So what we have discussed today, we have discussed the World War II, the World War I. We have discussed previously the Bose, how the Bose has came into the national scene, Haripura session, Tripuri session, Bose dissension with Gandhi, not agreeing to each other. Then we talked about what is going to happen after World War II is struck. Indians, the Congress has given 2 demands, fulfill those demands, and then we'll support you. Then comes the next point, that is what we have to do. What the Congress needs to do. They will give us again now the circumstances are changing in the Britain or in the Europe. Hitler is winning, so they give August offer, they reject because that's not good, and then they'll form the individual satyagraha. So with this we finish today's session. See you all in the next session. Next session we'll continue this story and we'll move to the Quit India movement. Bye bye till now. Revise well. See you all in the next class. Thank you.